All right, guys, so we're going to be talking cold air intakes versus replacement sealed airbox. So we've got two, and we have two of undoubtedly the best products in the market for your 300 series Landcruiser when it comes to airboxes. Trust me when I say we have seen them all the popular brands we have had through here that have already been fitted to customers' cars, and we'll jump into that in a minute. Anyway, these are the two best. Now, I'm going to start with the Patrol Doctor. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to put it on the dyno, have a look at it, have a look at the results for a sealed airbox that's to go to a snorkel. So it is a fabricated airbox. Spin the camera around, have a look. So you can have a look, completely sealed airbox. That's the inlet side of it there, and it is sealed with their very own air filter as well. And we did all the R&D testing on this one to make sure it did flow. He went back to the drawing board quite a few times to actually get it right. So he's a fabricator with mechanical knowledge that it actually needs to work and not just look pretty. Then we have the AFE cold air intake, and exactly what it is. It is a cold air intake, not designed to be plumbed up to a snorkel at all. This is for something if you're going to be touring with a caravan on the back, on the blacktop, dusty roads, all of that, that's fine, but it's not made for river crossings. So there's two very distinctly different styles of air intakes for your 300 series. I'll spin the camera around, you can check this one out. So you can see it's got the pod filter. We've got our intake tube here with the airflow meter, and then obviously the large airbox. And they've done the same. So he's got the larger intake on it. You can see here they've got a large intake hole on it as well where it plumbs up to the guard. It is a big airbox. Now I personally have had this one here fitted to my 300 series for 50,000 kilometers now, and there has been absolutely no dust getting past that air filter, which is obviously a win-win. So we've got dyno results, we show you the difference, and I recommend to customers that it's for two completely different purposes. You know, if you're going to go through river crossings, you're going to want that snorkel. This is what you need to do. If you're going to stick on the blacktop and tow your caravan and have a Touareg tractor like me, this is what you need right here. Let's jump into it. Let's see the details. Let's see the results of our airbox testing. How good? We've got the 300 series behind me. We've got all the dyno results just here, right? And these dyno results are factory. So when I say factory, I'm talking factory tune. So we haven't modified anything at all. It came in with that snorkel modified to suit the factory inlet of the factory airbox, okay? And then we fitted the Patrol Doctor one and then modified the inlet from that snorkel to suit the Patrol Doctor airbox. So what we've done is we've changed the factory airbox inlet from the snorkel to the Patrol Doctor airbox. Generally speaking, the factory airbox flow rate, I mean, it's not too bad. It's a lot better than some of the airboxes that we do see. In fact, it's better than a lot of airboxes that we do see in this sealed condition. But as far as the Patrol Doctor one, you know, it outflows pretty much everything else on the market, or does outflow everything else on the market as far as a sealed airbox is concerned. And you can have a look here. The results speak for themselves. These are, so blues before, so as delivered, no tune, snorkel bolted up to the factory airbox, okay? And it dips all the way down to 14:1 here at 3160. Now, it's 14:1 in a diesel, that's not good. You don't want that at all. And then you can obviously see the power up here. So as far as the after results, which is in the green here, you can see, look at that AFR line. 18:1, nice and solid, nice and straight. We can see the power comes up, you know, has a 300 dip, and then it even makes, you know, 5 more kilowatts. And all you've done is put an airbox on there and adapted a snorkel to it. And all we've done is adapted the snorkel to the Patrol Doctor airbox and not squished it all the way down. So when these blokes are going around fitting snorkels to factory airboxes and doing all funky stuff in the inner guard, and it's not just on 300 series Landcruisers, we see it on all different makes and models of vehicles. There's a right way and wrong way to do things. The way this one was set up, it's just not right. Having the Patrol Doctor one in there, you can see it for yourself, 18:1, nice and safe AFRs. And then as far as the power, it's making more power. So I just wanted to, this is the adapter that was used. And the hose clamp was around here with some silicone on it. So you can see that's the restriction going to the airbox for the snorkel. But it's not good. And unfortunately, when we get these 300s into tune them, and they do have a snorkel on them, and if it is a stainless steel one, not so much the arm axes, but if it is a stainless steel, this unfortunately is commonplace. So it's one of those buyer beware. If you're going to put an aftermarket airbox on there, make sure you get something, you know, that's suited to the right style of snorkel. If you fit a snorkel to a vehicle, you're already restricting the air to the inlet. The only reason why you'd ever fit a snorkel to a vehicle is if you're going to go through deep river crossings. Other than that, you are restricting airflow to the inlet. You're adding, what, 1.5 meters? It's just the way it works. It is a restriction. What's even worse is when we see things like this, where you've got maybe what, like a 4 or 5 inch snorkel, and then you reduce it down to that, and then you clamp it like that. It's just never going to work properly. And then that's when you get customers coming in saying, I'm using a lot more fuel, it feels choked, the car doesn't accelerate as good as what it does, and then you end up getting AFRs and power graphs that look like that. I mean, that is just so disappointing to see, and people think that that is acceptable. I guess it is a true case of, you know, buyer beware, do your research, but also ask those hard questions as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Turned into a bitching session. All it was meant to be is, if you want an aftermarket snorkel, get an airbox to suit. Patrol Doctor for the 300 series outperforms anything else on the market as far as sealed airboxes go. Here's 300 series AFE cold air intake. Obviously we've got our air filter here. Now this is a renewable air filter that can be cleaned out. And we've got the intake duct with our airflow meter. Obviously we've got our silicone coupling on the end there. You'll notice I've got this piece of plastic and yeah, grommet that goes in the side here. You'll notice as well that where standard intake ducting comes through the side here, we've got the seal for the standard intake ducting to couple up to. So I'm really excited to see the volumetric difference between this and the standard air intake or airbox. I'm also really excited to see if this one's actually going to seal, because I did a video a while ago after I'd done 5,000 Ks, I've done nearly 30,000 now, showing what the inside of the airbox or the air intake, so the upper lid, looked like, and it's covered in dust. So this is going to be good. Very, very keen to see what the guys at AFE have come up with. So I got my mate Rich here. Now he's going to be doing the install on the airbox on the 300 series. There's a couple of things that you mentioned to me about the tune-up wise,
yeah.
Which was one, you're going to be interested to see how much more airflow, and you said to me because it needs it.
I did, yeah. So we all know that, well, we know, I'm not sure if the public knows, they're extremely rich. Rich means, in simple terms, that it gets a lot of fuel for the amount of air that it's receiving. We are seeing a lot of diesels go down that path currently. It's a good way to get more power out of them. But I'm very interested to see if this leans it off, meaning that it's getting more air again. If it leans it off, and it leans it off considerably, we'll be able to get more fuel back into it using the Unichip, which, you know, in turn will equate to more power and more torque. So yeah, I am very interested in seeing how this goes.
It's been 10 minutes and we're coming to the pointy end of the stick with the install on this airbox. Seriously, really easy to fit. Obviously all the work has gone into the R&D of making this fit, sort of bang up and be really, really straightforward. If you have a look at what Richo's done here, it's just doing up the last hose clamp, but look at that. It's fantastic. Looks good. I just want to see the results. Just about. We've got her up on the dyno. See the results back to back. No tune.
All right, so yeah, first impressions, quite impressive. Picked up probably good 10 kilowatts, sort of pretty much everywhere, especially where it changes over the turbos and goes to the bigger turbo. Holds onto the power a lot better in the higher revs. You can see here we've also connected to the OBD data with the dyno, and this is actually measuring airflow through the factory airflow meter. So you can see the blue, so it's obviously in grams per second. It's just a scale of 100 to 400 grams per second. So you can actually see, even from the live data from the factory ECU, that we're actually flowing a lot more air. Hence it's made more power. But if we look at our air fuel ratios, because we're consuming more air is going into the engine, I bet you it's going to make our AFRs a lot leaner, as I expected. Obviously the greater airflow has made our air fuel ratio even leaner, which is safer on a diesel. Obviously the higher the numbers in the air fuel ratio, the safer it is. Yeah, picked up sort of 50 Newton meters of torque as well. So yeah, I mean obviously everything comes up. Power, torque, airflow's up, and the engine's running leaner. So it's all a plus with a simple bolt-on, quite cost-effective upgrade.
So now the $1 million question is, I guess people are going to try and compare. You can't compare the two. Sealed, open, for snorkel, not for snorkel, but people will want to know what the flow rate is. The AFE did flow slightly more than the Patrol Doctor airboxes. They're two very different intake systems for two very different purposes, so you need to bear that in mind. But both of these, we give the tick for the best airboxes in the country currently available. So do your research first, make sure that they flow before you go spending thousands of dollars on something that is a nice looking piece of junk.